to House of Papillons. So glad you are here to join me for this project. So it's May. It's May. It's the fifth month of 2026, if you can believe. Where's the time going? So this is our continuation in a series that I started in January and just it was impromptu and just sort of came up with this series that I'm calling Back to Basics. So in January, we started with making a simulated, obviously, garnet. Because that is the birthstone for January, and I'm making it in this diamond shaped mold. So we did a garnet. Now, in that video, if you're new to resin and you're beginning, my philosophy of starting, especially this particular craft or art, is to start with something very, very basic. Learn that, get it down, know what you're doing, do several projects using basic one-to-one resin with very basic colorants and basic techniques to get what it is that you're trying to get. So if you go back to that video, the garnet video, this goes into trying to prevent bubbles in your resin. What kind of resin to go for first, to look for first, just all the different techniques. And then we used alcohol inks to color this. I used several different colors to get that color. When we moved on to February, which was the amethyst, the technique that we did it was a basic pour, basic resin, everything was basic. Except what we did for this one was I wanted to be able to really see all those facets that are down in there, because this you can see through it. I don't know if I take that out. See where it's thinner? You can see through it, but just like a garnet, you can't, see a whole lot down through there. So with February, what we did was we did sort of a gradient coloring. We started very, very pale, then we did a middle, medium purple, and then dark, and that's what we got. Just stunning. Oh shoot, I just spilled my little sample cup there. And then in March is the aquamarine. And in this one, we learned how to put inclusions in there, and we put real aquamarine chips in there with a slight colorant to make it be the color of aquamarine. And then in April, we did the diamond, and we did a different kind of, we added film in there, an iridescent film in there to make it sparkle like a diamond. So today with emerald, which is the birthstone for May. It's a very special birthstone for me. It was my grandmother's birthstone, and she was very, very special to me. So, so I really, I mean, not that I don't want to do a good job on all of them, because I know someone that has at least one of these birthdays, but she was very, very special to me. So. First was getting the color right, because, just any old green wasn't going to do for me. And what I did was I got all the alcohol inks out, with the exception of the octopus inks, because they're very, very strong. And I have a feeling that the one that was, I think it's green apple, probably would be very close to emerald, but I didn't want to take a chance because I'm so new to using the octopus inks, so I sort of left that out. But I have some of the Tim Holtz Ranger inks, and I've used them before, and I thought that either mojito or clover would be a good likeness of emerald. And they are, until you put a real emerald next to them. But so I just squirted a little tiny bit of alcohol in a cup, and then put a drop in there, mixed it about just to see, what we're dealing with color wise. And I decided, so I have an emerald pendant that is mine, that I actually found this emerald. I went on a little excursion to Hiddenite, North Carolina, and we went digging for stones. And I found several stones. I found several emeralds there. They had lots and lots of emeralds there, and I found them. This is what one looks like. This is what one of the several ones that I have that I found. And then they have a person there. They have a lapidary where they cut the stones and all that, but they have a geologist there who will look at a stone like this, which completely blows my mind. And he'll go, "Yes, that one is gem quality," or what. I'm like, "You're kidding." This is a skill that I don't have a clue. But anyway, I left it there and they cut it for me and mounted it in 14 karat gold. So this, I'm going to try to go in close because I want you to see actual emeralds. They actually have inclusions down through them. There's always little white wispy things. There's things in there that look like they're cracked on the inside, and they're not. It's just all these colors that come together to make the actual stone. So I wanted to try and mimic that in a certain way in our pour today. Um, I feel that this clover is a pretty good likeness of that color that we're going for. So that's we're gonna start with. And I'm gonna try to, just make it look a little more emeraldy rather than just pouring a big old green thing of stuff, which you can do. I never ever I never ever yuck somebody's yum, as they say. I will never ever criticize what somebody decides to do in their project. If you are the artist, you make the decisions and you decide how you're going to do it. You may want a straight pour of a green stone, which will be stunning. Don't question it. It'll be stunning. It's just that I want to try my hand at putting some of these things in there. And what we're going to do, I have mixed some one-to-one, basic one-to-one resin. I think today I'm using Tea Expert. And like I said, if you are new and you're looking for the beginning, like how to mix resin, all that stuff, go to the garnet video because I go in depth on how to do the very, very beginning steps. So in this, what I'm going to do is just put down a basic layer. I'll probably go maybe a little bit up the side here of a paler green than the green that we're going to end up with. Because again, I really want to play up those facets. I'll tell you, the facets in this mold are unlike, they're, use your facets. That's all I'm saying. The facets are giving me all things. And then when we, after that layer cures, we're going to put some glass chips down in there just sporadically. It's not going to be heavy with glass chips the way this was heavy with those stones. It's going to be kind of around there. And then we'll get to, get to curing that. I have about 2.5 ounces in this cup. I think 2 ounces goes to this little rim here. So I did a 1/2 ounce to go a little bit higher. And just so you know, we're pouring upside down. So we're pouring from this side up. So I'm going to go to about here where these glass stones start. Okay, so I have my clover and I'm just going to give it a shake. You always shake alcohol inks. You always stir pigment paste before you start. And I always err on the side of caution. I start very small because you can't take things out. You can put color in, but you can't take it out. So starting small is my little way of trying to control things. You know what I mean? All right. I think we need at least one more. Now with the amethyst, I actually counted how many drops. But since this isn't a true gradient. This, yeah, I think we can be a little more loosey-goosey with it. And I do want this a little bit darker. So that's 3, just so we know, for the sake of knowing. And what happens is with this mold, because, you know, it mimics, you know, what facets would be in a real stone. The reason jewelers put facets in the stones is because that helps light reflect up through it. And that's what helps you get. I'm going to put 2 more in. I'm being really adventurous. So that's about 5 drops of this Ranger. Ranger alcoholic. And I thought this was a Tim Holtz. It is a Tim Holtz. It's one of the Tim Holtz colors. Tim Holtz is a very famous artist, color guru. He has a lot of products in the bigger stores that are for inks and things that you use for coloring all kinds of things, not just resin, but just all kinds of things. All right, I'm going to put this in my bubble remover, and I'll be back in, well, for you, it'll be the blink of an eye, so don't go anywhere. Okay, most of the bubbles are gone. What I'm going to do is take my heat tool here and just blow on the top of it to hopefully get rid of anything that has decided to linger. Oops. There's still 2 right there. Right there. Now, also, I'll give you a just a little heads up that we're moving into warmer months now. So if you are a beginner and you just started doing resin over the winter, you're going to find that your resin may cure a little quicker. You have a little bit less work time with what you're trying to accomplish, because as the weather gets warmer outside, of course, our houses, even though you may have air conditioning, it's still, the whole atmosphere is going to change the way resin reacts. So just that little tidbit. And I'm gonna, I guess I'll pour it on the top of this thing. This thing always gets in my way. However, oh, you know what? I should pour kind of high. When you pour high and with a very thin stream, the theory is that on the way down, anything that you know, as it's pouring, any bubble that comes to the surface in the stream hopefully pops on its way down, and or pops as it's hitting, because you're doing something so thin. Don't be in such a rush to just pour things and dump things into your project, because, you know, we're always looking at ways, and I'm a good 12 inches. Now, I've seen people do 24 inches higher. You know, there are, and these are really, really, really experienced, well-known people in the resin world. So there must be something to it. And I am moving my hand a little bit, and I'm gonna clean this off when I'm finished pouring. I don't really have to. I mean, we're covering that with green anyway. Actually, I could just leave it if I want to. I think I said this was 2.5 ounces, I believe. One thing that I really like about this mold is that you can see through it. So I can see where it is without you know, I can see where it is from the outside. This mold is from Laura's Art Corner, and she is at laurasartcorner.net. I am an affiliate with Laura, and if you go there, I'm going to put my discount code on the screen. Laura is the only distributor in the United States of Octopus alcohol inks, and they are they're the creme de la creme of alcohol inks. So if you're interested in starting a collection of those, she's the person to go to. Not only is she just an overall good person, but her shipping is so fast. The last thing that I ordered from there, I got in, was it 3 days? I mean, it was, and I ordered the thing at night, like, you know, and within 3 days I had it. So, you know, sometimes we hesitate to order from, you know, directly from a company because Amazon's faster, right? Well, it isn't always, at least not in my area. But do yourself a favor, just go on her channel just for some beautiful goodness of not just those alcohol inks, but that, oh, she has some mica pigments that are just amazing. And her glitters are going to be the end of me. I adore her glitters. That was where I first got familiar with Laura's Art Corner. And you probably have seen other artists talk about Laura's Art Corner, and I was like, what could possibly be so incredibly fabulous? And now there are very few of my product projects since December when I started buying her products, that very few of my projects don't have something of hers in them. Because okay, we're full up to, how can I describe it? Because I don't want to tilt it. Okay, we're a little bit past. We're like just past the tippy tip of there. So that's how far. All right, I'll see you very, very soon for the next step. Our first layer is cured, and now we're going to work on this second layer. And what I intend to do, I have 3.5, well, over 3.5, a little over 3.5 ounces in this cup, because I have 2.5 ounces in here. And wait a minute, I think I intended this cup to be the and I think this takes 6 total, so we should have enough. Plus I'm going to put glass in there, so you know that'll take up a little bit of space. But what I'm going to do first is color our resin, and I'm using the same color, Clover, by Ranger ink. Now I just put a bunch in because I think we did like 4 or 5 for that first layer, and this layer I want to be dark, you know, like a more traditional emerald color, because this is what's going to give us that emerald color. And when I put this glass in here, it's not going to go in like the it's not going to be thick with glass. It's going to have, I'm going to try to lay some down randomly flat, and I have a lighter color green and a darker color green, and I laid it out like this because I'm going to try to pick sort of the bigger chunks. I don't really want tiny chunks. I want it to be larger chunks. So that's our plan. This green is so pretty. Oh, I just have such a weakness for gemstones in general. Always have, ever since I was a little kid. It's very green, but I think I want it even darker. And I am gonna, now what the unknown to me is, are these just gonna look like the same color? Like, am I gonna see, cracked looking pieces in there, or is it just gonna, all blend together? Generally, if you put something that's faceted inside of resin, it loses the facets. So, I have other inclusions that, they look like little diamonds, or they look like, tiny um faceted stones. And if I were to put that and submerge it in the resin, it would just get lost and you wouldn't see it at all. It's very dark, very pretty. I think that's good. And what I'm gonna do, I'm gonna put this in the bubble remover because I want it to be as bubble free as possible. Let me just lay that there. And I'm gonna bubble remove, and I'll be right back in the blink of an eye. While I'm waiting for the bubbles to be removed in the bubble removing machine, I wanted to show you something. So remember, I was just talking about facets, and this little, it's a glitter, but actually she doesn't call it a glitter. At Laura's Art Corner, she has this fantastic additive that every time I buy something there, usually I buy a little bag of this fairy dust sparkle glass. And I don't know how well you can see, but they are like teeny tiny little iridescent faceted stones. And I am like just over the moon with them. Now, on her website, she says she's put them in resin, but they work best out of resin. But what I did was the little candle inserts, these little candle cups, I took it and put it in the top of the one that I'm going to use with the diamond, because it's almost like we put teeny tiny little diamonds in the top of there. Isn't that absolutely gorgeous? And yes, you can't, in the resin, you can't really tell so much that they are little stones, that they're not just glitter. It looks like diamonds. It's just gorgeous. And with this, it's just wow. Unfortunately, I did not debubble that before I went making this. I used resin from another project to do it, but I just think that's going to be so pretty with an artificial candle in it. And this stuff is from Laura's Art Corner, so fairy dust sparkle glass if you have a project. Now, I've taken in some of my Christmas projects, I took just little tiny ones and added them to different places because they just give the most beautiful accent, on the outside of your project as well. And there's nothing like it. It's really, really pretty. So just thought I'd share that with you. This is nice and bubble free. And while that was happening, I went into both of the two shades of glass that I have, and I picked out some bigger chunks. What I'm gonna do is sort of split this because I'm not sure that I'm gonna need all that. And then, we'll just do more if I need more. But what I'm going to do first, remember when we made the aquamarine, and I said you have to put your your inclusions that you're going to use. You have to uh, incorporate them in resin, because there's entirely a chance that something could end up in there dry and fall up against the mold, and then it'll make a hole there where there's no resin behind it. That could happen, and in this case, it's going to be up against the bottom, or the bottom of this layer. So we want that to all be also incorporate resin in there, under it and around it and all that. So even though I'm not putting all the resin in yet, I'm going to put a little bit of resin in here and just mix it around for a second, just to make sure that everything has resin all the way around it. And that's interesting, because remember, I was wondering what this glass would look like. And I can't tell because I'm dealing with a green stick. 1 second. Let's see. So it looks like the lighter stayed, it still looks light in green resin, and the darker still looks dark. So that answered that question. So next, what I'm going to do, like I said, I want this to look random, like it would look in nature. So I am just putting a thin layer, and I'm going to spread it around, but I just want to get it in there first. To just get an idea of what is where and if I need more, etc. So now I'm just looking down in there. I'm hoping you can see. And I'm just going to kind of spread them around. And they're not, I mean, they can touch. It doesn't really matter. But I don't want them jumbled up. I don't want them in a pile. I don't want them, all in a row. I just kind of want them sort of, spread around. And like I said, this part of this whole sort of series that I'm doing is to show, examples of things. So in this example, it's showing, how to make something look like maybe it has, cracks. I'm hoping it shows up that way. And yet it will not be full like that. I don't know what I'm pointing at because I took it off of here, but like the aquamarine, it will not be full of stones the way the aquamarine was, because we wanted those stones to look like the stone. I've got them jumbled up in an area over here. But if you go and you look at, the most expensive emeralds and the most exclusive stores, I once met a woman, and her engagement ring was a gigantic emerald. Who knows how many carats that was? And you could even see, kind of cracks and things. There were things that look like cracks. They're not. That's what that stone looks like. It has things, things. The stone just looks like that. I'm trying to say. I'm trying to be even about it, but I don't know how even I'm being, because I can't, I can't see it as a whole. Now, there's another way as well, because emeralds can also have these wispy white parts in it, and I actually practiced taking some white paste and going in there and making white, but I just thought that I think that's too complicated, and I think it might intimidate people, and the whole point of this series is to show you that you can do things and to not be intimidated. So I was like, all right, I'm not going there. Now, what I'm doing now is I'm mixing a little bit of the stone or these glass to go on top of here. This glass just came from like Dollar Tree. It's nothing terribly special. I just had it in my stash. I've used it here and there for different things throughout the years. And you know, if you take a little walk around your Dollar Tree, because when you look down in this, you are going to see, if without a candle there, you do see the bottom, you know, of this candle holder section. So you you know, just trying to, in case you see through there, because I don't know, what the, if the facets are going to you know, bounce off of this part. Don't know. But see how the light did stay light and the dark is dark? So that's good. It's a good thing to know. Many times, unless you've done it before, that particular pigment with that particular inclusion, a lot of times we don't know what it's going to do. And as I keep, you know, I just keep trying to encourage people through this series that you can do these things. Sometimes they're not going to work out, and that's fine too. The most seasoned professional resin people that I follow on a regular basis, they will be the first ones to tell you during any given project that they don't know what's going to happen. So all right, I'm going way high. I'm maybe 16 inches. I just can't go any higher because of the camera, but I'm doing very thin. I was so looking forward to this project because I love emeralds. Let's face it, I love them all, right? This is looking pretty bubble free, which is making me happy. However, I'm moving that I'm moving that glass that I just took all that time to do. It's all right, I'll fix it. I'll slide it back into place. I apologize, I keep hitting the camera holder thing. Now, I think it was the amethyst video where I showed how to dome. So I am going to dome this, but I need to move it to my another table so that I can use my surface for other things while this cures. So if you want to see doming, go to the amethyst video, and that'll show you doming, how to do it, what it looks like, what is doming, etc. And once you get the hang of it, you'll be doing it. Let me see. I'm just trying to make sure I have enough. It seems like I have a lot more darker pieces in this part. Get out of there, bubble. Now see, that's suctioned right down to that top. That's why I just made sure to flip it over, because I felt it go whoop right down onto the top of the piece. And I said, oh no, you're not. All right, I'm going to move this, dome it, and I'll be back when it cures. It'll be the blink of an eye. And we're cured. Gonna try and demold. As you see, I debubbled after I domed it, but there's a bubble on the very bottom. Not the end of the world, but you know, sure wish the bubbles would give me a break sometimes. Okay. Ooh, the green's very pretty. Come on, Emerald. I'm doing this a different way. I don't know why. It was successful all the other 4 months. Okay. Remember the rules. You have to fix your mold before you move on. Okay. Are you ready? Oh, I love the inclusions. You see them? Let me find. Nice. Very nice. I'm happy with this. What do you all think? Appreciate if you comment and let me know what you think. There's all kinds of little pieces of things all over the place. Nice. I'm very happy with it. And see how doing just that thin layer on the top of the lighter color, it doesn't affect it at all. What it does is it allows you to see further down into the piece to see, you know, all those facets. Wow, I'm happy with this. Please let me know what you think. Now, for June, surprise, I'm thinking about doing 2 molds for June, because the birthstone for June, well, there are a couple of them. There's the pearl, and then some people use alexandrite because it's a more faceted type of stone, you know, a translucent stone that you can see into. So I wanted to do pearl because we haven't done anything that's had mica powder in it for our Back to Basics series. And that would be 2 different techniques to learn. So I think I'm going to do 2 different pours for June. So get ready for that. Thank you so much for watching and supporting me. It means more than you ever could know. And please like and subscribe if you haven't. And I hope to see you again. And be sure and make your day creative. I'll see you next time. Bye-bye.